Okay, I'm calling to order Fair TV monthly meeting. Today's May 20th, 2024. Officer reports. Chairman's not on. I'm the vice chair. I have nothing to report. Secretary, Will.
Nothing to report other than to make a motion to approve the minutes of our April meeting dated April 15th, 2024.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
The ayes have it. Motion is carried unanimously. That's all from me.
excellent. Okay, Luke, you're up.
Not too much to report. I will kind of circle back on what I've been talking about. Zoom room is up and running in the Board of Ed. We've had, I think, maybe 2 or 3 successful meetings now from the Board of Ed side of it. Tomorrow we have a Board of Finance quarterly meeting that we're kind of pushing them to go to Zooms. So we'll see how that goes. So far, so good. So hopefully we're kind of past the whole waiting and seeing. So we've finally got some things in motion.
Excellent.
And then the other thing is the PEG-PISA grant got approved for the full amount.
Okay.
I spoke with the vendor. I'm just waiting to hear back from the purchasing department in town to see what they need from us to get the go-ahead to get the vendor on board. But my goal is to get everything out installed in July, just because there's a week where there's no meeting. So it'd be nice to have, them come in, install it, and then do a training session for us, the staff. This way they got, there's no rush in between meetings. So that's the goal, is to get it by July and then up and running that week. So they said that it seems like that's something they could do, the vendor, and we just need to go ahead from the town and all that. And the money should get to us by the end of June. They're saying the PEG-PISA grant fund should get to us by then. So if everything goes smooth, knock on wood, everything should kind of pan out nicely, and timeline should match up pretty good. And that's pretty much all I got. Those 2 things are the 2 hot topics that we've been talking about for the last few months. So I kind of 2 things we could almost close the book on.
Great. Okay, anybody have questions for Luke? Right.
Just thanks for staying on top of that, Luke. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
We know you get the brunt of people complaining about sound quality and that kind of stuff. So hopefully this reduces those contacts.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Luke, I haven't heard from my neighbor in a while. I'm kind of missing him.
Well, hopefully we don't hear from him anymore. So that's good.
Yeah.
In a positive way,
Excellent. Okay, so moving on to new business, Memorial Day parade coverage. So basically there was a note sent asking us if we would cover it, because we've covered it in the past. So I guess we probably need to make a motion to cover it. Right?
So move.
Okay.
I think so. Before we do that, I just want to confirm, Luke, hypothetically, should we approve and all be willing to cover it, you do have the resources available.
Yeah.
Right. This wouldn't be a departure from previous.
Nope. I've already checked. There's obviously no other meetings going on that day. I have 2 staffers who would be available if you guys approve it. One of them's done it in the past, so they're familiar with the whole procedure and the layouts and all that. So it's definitely all good on my end.
Cool. Sorry to interrupt the motion there.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, this is something that we've done in the past. I feel like this is, to me, it's a no-brainer. That this is a great day for the town, and to have it accessible to people who can't make it to the parade, I think is a really nice thing. So I'll make a motion that we should cover the Memorial Day parade on Fair TV this coming Monday, the 27th. Yeah, a week from today. Can I get a second again?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Lee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, perfect. Passes unanimously. And CAC meeting representation and coverage. Lee, is this your? No.
I don't know. Was there a meeting on Thursday? Did anybody go?
No idea.
Well, while we're waiting for David, I can tell you that this is the craziest group I have ever been involved in my life. I'll try to make it short. It was actually almost amusing because, like I think I told you, they put this motion. There's $100,000 to be distributed to the members of the council. So they decided, rather than having grants being submitted, proposals being submitted, they would just divide it 5 ways among the 5 different communities, which, by the way, there are 7, but we'll get to that in a minute. So each community would get $20,000. And so I raised my hand and I said, what's the motivation for this? And the motivation is that it's too much work for the vice chair who processes the grants. And she's not in great health, neither is the chairman, both of whom, by the way, are from Orange. That was the reason that was given. And I said, well, that just going to give money away. That's going to encourage the various members to spend the money, even if they don't need it, which sort of fell on deaf ears. And so then it turns out that they added, and it's not in the statute, they've added the, oh my goodness, I've forgotten the name of the school district that serves Orange, Amity, the Amity School District to the mix. So it's Milford, Fairfield, Stratford, Orange, and the Amity School District. And they were going to give the Amity School District $20,000. And we all said, well, wait a minute, who do they serve? Well, they serve Orange and
Bridge.
Woodridge. Woodbury? No, it's
It's not Woodbridge?
Woodbridge. I'm sorry, it's Woodbridge.
Yeah, Woodbridge.
So somebody said, well, wait a minute. The Amity School District only supports 1 channel. Fairfield supports 2. Stratford supports 2. How are they getting the same amount of money? And why are they getting an additional $20,000 to serve Orange and Woodbridge, which didn't quite make sense. And so somebody said, well, what does Amity spent money on in the past? And they said, well, they've spent it for internal things. Well, what kind of internal things? Well, they've spent it for salaries. Well, I'm almost willing to bet what they've spent it for was cameras for the Amity School District that they're using in classrooms and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so that was the whole way this was going. And somebody said, well, why should Amity School District get the same amount as everybody else, as the bigger communities? So they said, well, right, maybe we should give them a little less. Well, how much? Well, somebody said, well, how much have they gotten in the past? Well, they've averaged sort of like $10,000. So they voted to give Amity School District $10,000, and then the other $10,000 are divided among the other 4. And I said, well, wait, what about Bridgeport and I've forgotten the other one. There's another town that should be part of this, Shelton, I think. And they said, well, they never asked for money, so we're not going to give them any. It was just crazy. They were just doing this by the seat of their pants. And anyway, so it finally came to a vote, and then they decided I couldn't vote because I had not been duly designated by the first selectman as the representative from Fairfield. And so it passed unanimously, and that was that.
It's almost like a grant application process would work here. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Right, but that's what they've done in the past, and they
Right.
just decided to dispense
Not to
with
do
it
it.
and just dole out the money.
Can I ask a question that I'm almost certain I will regret asking the moment I finish asking it? How are these people appointed or elected to their positions?
How are what?
The people in charge of the committee
Oh,
regionally
that
appointed
I don't know.
or elected to their positions, and when is the next cycle?
Well, I don't know the answer to the first question. I actually don't know the answer to the second one unless I go back and look at the bylaws. I mean, they have this very detailed list of bylaws, none of which they comply with. None.
Right.
And then they accused when David sent a note to them designating me as the person to represent Fairfield and Luke as the non-voting member, they said, well, you can't do that. That's a conflict of interest. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. The chair and vice chair are from Orange. How is that not a conflict of interest?
Right.
And besides which, Jerry served as a non-voting representative.
Well, why did you get turned into a non-voting?
Because I hadn't been designated they had not received a letter from the first selectman designating me as the representative from Fairfield. That was their excuse. So the bottom line is that Fairfield, to answer your question, Will, if we really wanted to do this, and the fact of the matter is, $20,000 is more than pocket change, and it can be used for all sorts of stuff and all of that. That if Fairfield wants to, take control of this, which could easily be done, we'd have to get them to the library board to appoint somebody, the Board of Education to appoint somebody, me, and then there's a fourth one, which I don't quite understand where that fourth person is supposed to come from. Could be an at-large for all I know.
I think
and then a non-voting member from that would be Luke. You could take this thing over because there's clearly not a lot of interest in it.
Well, so that's why I asked the question, is because I 100% agree. $20,000 is not a lot of money. How many voting, or is not an insignificant amount of money?
Right.
How many voting members were present that passed that motion?
I think there were. I remember there were 6 of us on the call.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure that all of them were voting members.
Right. So if
they were all
on the
familiar
call,
with the vice chair,
and they didn't let you vote. The max votes there is 5, and what I'm thinking in my head is we're designated 4, is that we could derail the entire thing just as the town of Fairfield. Right?
Exactly.
Not that I'm saying that should be our purpose, but it's if no one else wants to do the process and no one else wants to do grants, like I'm sure that Luke could spend $100,000 more responsibly than whatever's happening with where it's going now.
Right. So, it's clearly very loosey-goosey what they're doing.
So I'd love to have 50% voting representation over next year's $100,000, and we'll send it all to Fairfield. And until people want to start putting, and we'll do the paperwork, we'll put a grant, application together, we'll do it the right way. And if no one else wants to play the game the right way, that's fine. They can work with $0. But it seemed, I'm certainly not making accusations, but whatever's a hair short of embezzlement is what it feels like is happening with that money. And, fine. If you don't want to do it, we'll do it our way, and we'll get 4 or 5 voting members, and we'll stand in the way of anything else.
Right. Well, they said Marlene, who ran the meeting, she's the vice chair. Although the chair was on the call, he didn't participate much. But she said, by the way, this money can now be used for salaries. Well, there's nothing in the bylaw as this money can be used for salaries. And I guarantee that's where I think the money in the Amity School District is going, is for salaries. They sort of make these things up seemingly as they go. It was, and the best part is, here's the best part. They started, they lost the whatever. They had a designated Zoom account, but nobody could seem to find the Zoom account. So they used somebody's personal Zoom account, which runs out in 40 minutes. They started the meeting with a motion to adjourn so that if they ran out of time, they would have had that on the record that there was a motion to adjourn. So this thing, and I'm dragging this thing out because I'm thinking I had too many questions, and sure enough, we got cut off at 40 minutes. It's like whoever wrote Robert's Rules of Order had rolled over in his or her grave.
Like, there's a part of me that just wants to take our 20,000 or 22,000, whatever it is now, a year, and not get near this thing.
Yeah.
And there's another part of me that is disgusted by people wasting taxpayer money, and it infuriates me. And it's like, well,
remember,
I guess
this
it's a
is
grant.
not exactly fair money. The money
Right,
comes
this is
from the
grant
cable
money.
companies, so it's
Mhm.
in some ways free money.
Yeah,
But still,
that's
I
true.
think we have a duty to seek whatever money we can get, um, to support Fair TV.
And do
So-
you have any idea, Lee, is this on Bill Gerber's like radar as far as like
Yeah, well, it
designating?
is to the extent that he's now sent a letter. I'm not sure what the she objected to the letter because I think it designated. Oh, that's the one that designated me and Luke, and she said, "Well, Luke can't, be a non-voting member," which the bylaws clearly state that Luke could be a non-voting member. And I think we want somebody representing the channel who has some technical knowledge, right? I could not understand why she objected, but I was leaving to go out of town, and I wasn't going to argue the case. But I think we do have a fiduciary responsibility to try to get as much money as we can, and not, to just here's $20,000. Write me a letter when it's over and tell me how you spent it, and we'll be done.
Mhm.
So does she need another letter from Bill?
I think she now has. David was trying to clarify Luke's standing, and also what happens if I can't come? Why can't we have another person represent Fair TV? There's nothing in the bylaws that says it has. I don't think it says it has to be a letter from the first selectman to do it. So it was the strangest meeting I have ever been in. And trust me, I've been in strange meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've poured through those, disgracefully, I've poured through those bylaws twice. There's absolutely nothing in there.
Right, but
That-
to answer Paula's question, I think if if David or wants me to, I can write to Jen and say, please put in front of Bill that this is what the situation is. We need to have, or we could just write directly to the Board of Education and the Library Commission and say, hey, put up somebody to represent your groups because there's money available to Fairfield if we have the right representation. And I'm not even sure you have to go through Bill. I'd have to look at the bylaws again to see if that's required, but I don't think so.
I just want to make sure that the next time that there needs to be a vote, that you're going to be able to vote.
Well, there's nothing now to vote on that I know of. There's some scholarship money. It's like $1,000 for a high school student and $1,000 for a college student to apply for these scholarships. I can't remember who they were named for. And that's what they were supposed to do on the 16th. Other than that, I don't know what else they could possibly vote on.
But it does sound like this is going to be like we've got to wrangle our own, cats here in Fairfield. And then, despite doing things correctly, we will likely face opposition of people who, seemingly have full control to distribute money however they'd like, regardless of the purpose, for purposes that aren't outlined for it. It seems messy. Like I don't know. This is almost one that I think is worth us reaching out to Board of Ed and Library, getting some names, reapproaching the first selectman's office and saying, here are the 4 or 5, whatever it is, voting and the 1 non-voting member. Here are the sections of the bylaws that
Right.
allow us to do it. You know, we'd love, you know, it's pre-written, co-sign it, fire it off to this person. And if they, you know, rebut it, I would love to join a meeting with you and, you know, spend the 40 minutes reading her, you know, the bylaws of her own committee.
Yeah.
And, you know, this time next year we can have maybe $60,000 or $70,000 for Luke to play with,
Well,
because
if
he
I
certainly
were,
has done more. He has done more with less than previous. So
Yeah.
imagine what he could do with another 70
yeah,
or 50
if
or
if
whatever.
I was
you know?
if I were representing, if I was in Bridgeport and knew that they had excluded me because I hadn't asked for money, I'd be furious.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to call Bridgeport and tell them. That's their problem.
No. Well, but this is right. If we start doing this, it may force other, you know, the other members just to go, well, shit, I want the same voting rights. And by
Right.
doing so, they'll have to engage their libraries, their board of education, and this might end up becoming legitimate by accident
Right.
versus whatever, you know, mob mentality has taken this thing over,
Yeah.
which is in, you know,
Well, I think it's not a mob mentality. Honestly, I think it's just they're tired.
Yeah.
They're not in good health, and this is easy for them. And you know, there is clearly some clubbishness about the people who are on the meeting.
Mhm.
I mean, after all, for the meeting that was 2 days ago, supposed to be 2 days ago, they wanted to have dinner before. It's like, what? You know, I'm not antisocial, but I'm not coming for dinner. I just want to get the business done.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to,
That's my report.
all right, well, so we'll bring it up again next month when David's here to see if we have any clarification about what he knows in his correspondence with the first selectman's office.
Yeah. Or I'll shoot him a note the next day or two. And yes, we can wait. I mean, there's nothing that I know of that's coming on that they could possibly be voting on.
Okay. Well, that's it. Let's see. David just texted me. Oh, he says he's trying to get into the meeting and I'm about to adjourn it. So I'm gonna actually tell him not to bother. So does anyone have anything else before I make a motion to adjourn?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Ooh,
Oh, count that as a yes vote
yeah.
for me.
How do you do that?
I have no idea. I
You?
loved it though. I don't know.
The thumbs up is always weird. Is that in WebEx or Zoom?
That's Zoom or FaceTime.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
yours.
God, it works on this too.
I want to be.
David's gonna be upset he missed that.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Okay.
Our next meeting is Monday, June 17th. So hopefully we'll see everyone then.
Yep. Good night.
Sounds lovely.
Good night,
Happy
guys.
Memorial Day,
Good night,
everyone.
folks.
Yeah. Happy Memorial Day.
Bye.
Cheers.